Welcome to the Saturday Night Live Afterparty. This week, we'll be discussing Season 47, Episode 8 of SNL with host and musical guest, Billie Eilish. I'm Catherine Coleman, and I am joined this week by Steve Finn, as well as comedic actress Erica Dieterich. You can connect with Erica at Erica Miranda. That's 2 A's on the end of Miranda. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can do so at snlpodcast.com. All right, here we go. All right, after 3 long weeks, SNL's back. And after 2 long months, Kate is back. And she was everywhere in this show.
As she should be.
As she should be, right? We missed her. I know some people didn't. I did. So I was happy to see her face again. We got another first-time host. We've got so much to discuss. But first, I got to introduce everybody to my friend Erica Dieterich. Erica, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Okay. It's between good and okay.
Okay.
You know, for 2021. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It is how it is.
Right. It is how it is.
Welcome to our podcast family, Erica.
I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited.
This is going to be fun. Eric and I are on a sketch team together called Wilburn. That's part of the Boogie Manja Sketch Collective. And we do have a show this Friday at twitch.tv/Boogie Manja. And she has also performed at Characters Welcome at the Squirrel Theater, as well as many, many, many other shows about town. You can pretty much find her performing anytime you want. She's always got shows. She's always hustling. She's so funny. And so, Erica, I've established your resume. You've got the sketch credentials, but we've got to know about the SNL credentials. The people want to know that you love the show they love. So just tell us a little bit about your favorite SNL stuff.
I mean, my parents, watched it when I was growing up, and I would just like join them on Saturday night, and I was like, this is really funny. Actually, the first time I ever watched it with them, they were parodying, oh my God, American Idol. And I thought it was American Idol, and I was like, oh my God. And I sat down, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I was just like hooked. I loved it, even though I probably didn't get half of the things that were going on. And then in college, I did my first main stage show at college in my theater program. Someone after the show was like, do you ever get that you look like Rachel Dratch? And it all went downhill from there. And literally every single show I have ever done, like theater-wise, somebody comes up to me after and tells me I look like Rachel Dratch. And I absolutely love it.
Do you take that as a compliment? Okay,
yes.
Good.
I love that woman. She made my type like a thing, and I love her forever for it. Yeah.
All-time favorite cast member, Rachel Dratch?
Yes. Definitely. I mean, I feel like this is a favorite among many SNL fans, but the Debbie Downer Disney World with Lindsay Lohan. She can't stop laughing, and the line she's like, I can't have children. I just like lose it every time. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's two of your favorite things, Disney World and Rachel Dratch.
Yeah.
Oh, sketch comedy.
I love Disney. It's 3 things. Yeah. I love me some Disney.
Nice. And you also, you love Billie Eilish, correct?
I do. I was really excited when you asked me to do this episode, because I'm a very big Billie Eilish fan.
Right. You're our resident Eilish head. What do they call themselves? Do you have a name?
No, I don't know. I'm not like that deep into it. I've maybe only skimmed the surface, but maybe out of the 3 of us, I am probably the biggest Billie fan.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to call Billie Eilish fans the eyelashes. So you're an eyelash. And are we ready to jump into the show?
Absolutely.
Eyelashes first. Let's do it.
Let's do it. For the cold open, the NIH players try to dispel some COVID misconceptions. Steve, how'd you feel about the cold open?
It's a good choice, I think. We were without Kate for so long, and it's only natural to want to lead the show with something that she can, be the front of. We love her Fauci. We love the dramatizations that the that the government employees put on. This was a very successful cold open in the past and seemed like a perfect storm to be having Kate back and, having a lot to say about COVID developments. I thought this was perfect. They needed something to push in your face that Kate was back. They really wanted to make that point ASAP. So this was probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, they even had her in the promos. Like they were like, everybody, tune in, she's here.
And yeah, as many recurring sketches often have, is some preserved bits that call back to the previous versions of it. This one is delightfully specific. We got Bowen and Ego back in their flight attendant and flyer roles, just like the first time. And I didn't think such a specific setup would be completely redone. And as cookie cutter as that may seem, the dynamic they have between them in that very put on type of energy is so funny. So I'm so glad they went back to such a specific element. I didn't realize how much I liked it the first time until I saw it again and was glad it was there.
I feel like last time this was the cold open or like, this general gag, that was my moment of the night, was like Bowen and Ego doing that thing. So to see for them to go back to it, it kind of makes you wonder about these characters outside of the scenario. Because they're like, it's supposed to be like all people that work together, but it's like these people have like something going on between them that like they're like, we're gonna do the plane thing again.
I love that too. I love that.
Erica, what are your thoughts on the cold open?
I liked it. I mean, I obviously love like opening on Kate. It was just this idea of like, I'm in good hands. We're ready to go. I wrote down, I have some notes here. I loved Cecily and Chloe's little bit. I thought it built really well to that. Like that was where it needed to end up. And then just 80 coming on as Ted Cruz and just pointing out the things of like the vaccination cards. I was like, oh my God, yes. They're like this bit. I was like,
the worst way to go about like this is a thing you need to keep forever. We're gonna make it paper and not like a digital record.
Right? Like really, really dumb. So I love that they talked about that. So COVID's been going on for like almost 2 years now. And this has nothing to do with their acting or anything, but you could tell that they're all exhausted with this just as much as we are in like a good way. It's like, you guys get that I just want this to be over too. Like I feel like they're like, gosh, I don't want to have to talk about COVID forever, just as like we don't want to have to deal with COVID forever.
Right.
So it's nice feeling like that connection, I think, for me at least.
Yeah, I thought this was fine. I remember I liked it the first time they did this. I thought it was pretty clever. It wasn't a format that I was immediately like, yes, this will be many more cold opens just like this. So I was very surprised to see it. But if Kate's there, I knew like the show's going to open on Kate doing an impression. It's just a matter of which one it's going to be, right? I liked the Mikey and Heidi bit a lot because, like you said, those cards are stupid. I like Marjorie Taylor Greene admitting she doesn't know what communism is. That's great. Like there were like things to enjoy here, but like I don't know, there were so many other topical things that I guess I was expecting something else, and that's on me. That's not on them. But I don't know. I wasn't super excited to see this, but it worked well enough that I was like, okay, we'll go along with it, All right. So the cold open, pretty high marks from you. I was a little more tepid, but that's all right. Let's get into the monologue. Billie, or could it just be two kids stacked on top of each other, tells us about how she should never, ever be allowed to act. And let me tell you, that's what I love to hear from a host right off the bat. So, Erica, as our resident Billie stan, what'd you think of the monologue?
Well, Billie is so cute, and I love her. She just exudes like authentic schism. I don't know what the word. Like, she's not trying to be anybody else, and I love that.
Mhm.
And I love that she didn't put on anything different. And this will actually trail into other sketches, but I like that she said that she's not an actor because she's not.
Right.
She's not. God bless her. But and then I love that, like, her mom is her best friend, and it was just
So
cute. And I
That
think
family is like so wholesome in like the weirdest way. Like,
Almost too much.
um,
Suspicious.
we'll talk about it later, but we got some Phineas action in there,
Lots of
and I was very
Phineas.
happy about it. So I think for people that actually don't know Billie Eilish, I thought it was a great introduction into, like, this is who I am, this is what you can expect tonight. I also loved how I thought it was really cute when she's, like, starting to break, and I was like, "Oh, she's gonna break. She's gonna break throughout this entire show." But I thought it was just so cute how she did
it's
it.
charming. Yeah.
Yes, charming. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I find Billie Eilish very like disarming. Like, because when she first came out, I liked Bad Guy. I thought it was a good song, but like she had the whole like green hair thing, and she was always wearing like the baggy clothes and stuff, and I just wasn't sure what to make of her at all. Go ahead.
When she mentioned, sorry, excuse me. She mentioned about, like, you forget that she's so young, and when she
Mhm.
first came out, she was 16, and it's like,
Right.
we were all weird when we were 16.
Right.
So, like, I like how she reminded us of that as well.
Yeah. But like I don't know, it felt like she was just, to me, like at first when I first like experienced her, it felt like she was just going for a thing and like I wasn't into it. And then like I watched the documentary on Amazon like last year or whenever, and I was like, "Oh, she's nothing like I like read her to be. She's actually like just very like lovely and kind and excited and like a child." And like, and I just found her so like genuinely lovely and as a human. And obviously like I thought her music was great all along, but like I was like, oh, okay, I read her wrong. Like I was wrong on that. She seems great. And I think she really showed that again in this monologue. Like you said, she
Mhm.
came out and she was just like, by the way, I presented myself a certain way and because I was 16, but I'm actually like a normal person and I'm like fun and like I'm just sweet and here to have a good time and smiling and I love Christmas. So I thought that was great. And then they wrote some really good jokes for her. I thought she delivered them all pretty well. Like she had good timing in a lot of them.
Yeah.
I love that they did like the Colin Jost scene here joke.
Yes.
Because I love those jokes in Update, and I like that that's enough of a thing now that you can like pull it out and that like, no, they're making fun of that thing he does. So yeah, this was a big win for me. Steve, where'd you land?
Well, I thought this monologue told me a couple of things. First being, I think Billie Eilish actually did want to be there for the week and doing SNL. Seemed like a genuine desire for her to be there. And it looks like she put in the work. And, judging by just this, feels like she was very easy to work with and got along with everybody. I don't want to reach too far with my assumptions, but it felt like she gelled well with the show.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So high marks. High marks on
Yeah.
the monologue.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep going. Let's get into the sketch fair. A
Woo-woo.
fridge full of Christmas cards. But who really are these people? Steve, was this one a win?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. A great way of just coming in and out of these different worlds. And what a great way of hard cutting between such, you go from the Christian family to the hunter cousin. How else can you get from the beach to the woods like that? A structure like this is just perfect for a huge cast. I've always said, when the cast gets this big, it really calls for ensemble type of sketches, such as this. But yeah, just the idea behind it allows for a lot of dynamic in the writing. And
Mhm.
once you get bored with writing about, the gay couple with the dying dog, you can skip to the mean girl high school friend. And yeah, you don't have to draw on the one well until it's a little too empty and it starts to show. You can
Mhm.
switch on to something else. And I think this one was held together well by Alex and Melissa's couple. It was really just there to glue it all together, but it was the perfect amount. They had their jokes and they were a little bit awkward, but it was fun. Awkward is kind of like the running theme of this whole episode, and this word is gonna come up a lot.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's a really, really fun premise. Like you said, the format's great. I love getting holiday cards in the mail, and I put them all in my fridge. So this like already spoke to me when it started like that. But then there's just so much truth because there are these specific types that you get. Like you know them, and they nailed each little vignette. So I thought this was really clever and really really fun way to go about that. If I had to give a note, it would just be that like I felt it heightened out of order maybe because the family that they put Billy in felt way less crazy than like the couple with the dying dog.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it could have been arranged a little differently and it would have felt like it was building more instead of kind of being a roller coaster. But I enjoyed it a lot. I really really liked this. Erica, did you have fun with it?
I did. I liked the structure. I am gonna say it wasn't my favorite out of the night. I honestly was people were excited that like Miley Cyrus showed up, but I was like, wait, what?
Like, right, like I was like, that's cool that she's in this, but that's the only place you're gonna put her,
right? It seemed a little out of place, and I was like, why? But it wasn't like terrible or anything. It just kind of like threw me off, and it was like weird, a little weird way. And I loved Keenan and Bowen in the dying dog. My God, I have walked that dog. I have walked that dog. So it was very relatable to me. And it's like literally like this dog used to like the same like mist, like the eyes are almost white. Like it was just so funny to me because it was highly relatable. And I thought Kate, to me, honestly, I wasn't sure how I felt about it until Kate's little vignette came up. And I thought I did love her so much. And I thought she just kind of gave it the bump it needed, I think.
Mm-hmm. Kate came in with like so much energy and just delivered her little bit like a pro and was out. Like there was it truly was like okay, yeah, she is like everyone on this show is obviously like a professional and like everyone did good, but it was like she popped in and then she left and you were like, oh yeah, that's how it's done. Welcome back.
Yep.
It was cream filling.
Go back.
Yeah, so this was fun enough. It's like they're in the rundown of the show. These sketches right after the monologue always are the ones like the broadest appeal. So you have to sort of like I always try to like remember that like even though I maybe like things that are a little weirder, that's just not what's gonna be here, So like a lot of times like I refer to them as like the ones that are for my mom. But yeah, but this one did surprise me. Like I liked it a lot more than I like other ones in this slot. Because I did think it was a pretty clever format.
Now, does Bowen get extra credit for pulling double duty as puppeteer?
Yes, he receives a $10 bonus.
$10 bonus. Yeah, because I was checking it, like you could see underneath, and there was no hand coming up. So I was like, "Oh, that's Bowen from behind working the dog."
Oh, don't say that.
What?
Bowen from behind working the dog.
Okay. He styled a dog that was, he inserted himself into. Is that better?
No, that's not better.
That's worse.
Now
that's
he's
worse.
inserting himself into the dog.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't take notes for this section of the show and how to delicately place my words. I apologize.
I was warned this was PG-13, and I feel like maybe you need a refresher of the rules. But
okay.
Okay, so solid marks on this one. Maybe a little bit more tepid for some of us, but let's keep going. POV. You're scrolling TikTok, but dad won't leave you alone about the stupid trash. Erica, was this a win?
It was cute. I use that word a lot, but it's also how I say it. You can tell how I feel.
Right.
I think it's, they're trying to work. I realize now that me being 31, that the show doesn't necessarily follow me in age. Like,
Right.
so now they're appealing to like people who use TikTok religiously.
Right.
So I think maybe for those guys it was a win. I definitely knew what they were talking about. I thought it was fun. Like, oh yes, that's a thing. And then the dad at the end is like on TikTok. But it was lukewarm for me.
Okay. Yeah, I loved this one. It's really like it's about time they do a TikTok parody. Like I feel like everyone's already been doing TikTok parodies and they waited until now. Um so I was like, okay, finally we're here. Like let's see it. Let's see what it is. Um and I like the thread that they weaved in of like outside of TikTok, dad's trying to get the kid to do something. Because I think that speaks to how TikTok is because I'm not big on TikTok, like, I open it maybe once a week or so, but every time I do, I blink and 3 hours have gone by, like but yeah, I love that. I love how as we scrolled, like you said, Erica, like, we kept coming back to the same user, so it got to, like, tell a little story about each person, so,
Mhm.
like, it wasn't just random TikTok parodies, like, there were threads being weaved through there, so I
Mhm.
appreciated that, and I loved the nurses and 80. Those were my 2 favorites by far, but yeah, this was just really fun all around for me. Steve, what'd you think?
I thought it was great. Just artistically, the choice to keep it told entirely within the screen of the phone was such a great choice. Because if you're going to do a TikTok parody video, you should not afford yourself uh, the fallback safety scenarios where you can zoom out and show him in his room. No, it's
Mhm.
all told like within the apps, whether it's the texting or TikTok itself. Uh, we stay in that, you know, whatever that dimension is of a portrait style phone,
Mhm.
and it's all the more better for it. Like it helps sell all the stories, the little narratives that happen throughout the different accounts.
Mhm.
Some of them kind of cross paths, and yeah, we have an amazing payoff with the dad like making an account to try to connect with his kid by making content. And as far as number of laughs yielded, this might be one of the highest ones. And I'm saying that now as a TikTok guy, just to prove it, I'll mispronounce it. But yeah, I still could recognize all the things they were doing. Pretty much everyone. I mean, they clapped for one dude who I didn't recognize. I'm assuming is an actual TikTok personality.
That was Phineas, Billy's brother.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Phineas. I didn't recognize him. I recognize him at the end as the bus boy,
Mhm.
but not in this. Okay, that's why people clap. Yeah, so that answers that. But I can't deny that, like as many times as this made me laugh, like just that alone, this deserves high praise.
Yeah.
And I'm
One
here to
little
give it.
thing I noticed the second time I watched it, which is really, really funny. They're going through and then you get to Kate and she's like, "You've been scrolling a while, put your phone down and read a book." And the username was the one and only Kate McKinnon. Like, that was meant to be literally Kate. Like, she was just
Ah,
playing herself. Like, that's so
I love that.
funny.
I love that.
That's fantastic. You gotta love the little details that go into it. Like I need to watch it again and take the time to like slow it down and read like the captions and stuff. Cause like, whoever edited this and did like the graphic design, like I'm sure like, you know, they put a lot of work into that and I'm sure there's like way more fun little jokes hidden in those that, it just goes by too fast for you to see unless you intentionally call it out. So pretty high marks on the TikTok parody. Up next, the church Christmas pageant needs some hip hop and a pimp walk. I loved this. As far as just like the writing goes, like if you read this on the page, you're like, this is okay. probably, you're like, okay, yeah, it's a juxtaposition of like the hip hop moves and like the nativity scene. That's fun. But what made this great, I'm gonna break my own rule here, is Heidi Gardner. Like, dear God, she sold the hell out of this. She gave it everything and made it work. Like, she is just the queen of repetition. It reminded me of an update character she had earlier this season where she just like 100 times said, "What if Spider-Man shot webs out of his webs? Shot peace out of his webs instead of webs? What if Spider-Man shot peace instead of webs?" And she just like did that 600 times, and it was so funny. It's like she just knows how to like milk that moment and milk that line for everything it's worth, and she did that with everything. Like, I Pimp Walk is the funniest thing. Like, I was crying laughing, and like I can't say that this scene has like a really great strong game to it, or like it's a very clever premise, but it's just Heidi being Heidi is so fun and enjoyable to watch. I loved it. And then she gave her all on that candy cane, and honey,
Yes.
wow, loved it. So Erica, are you on my level with this one?
Yes. What you there was a problem I had with it, and then you put it into words, is that the game I don't think was very strong, but yes, Heidi was so funny. And you could tell a little bit that Billie was a little nervous almost. And I loved that Heidi was just like, "Girl, I got you." Girl, I got you. And she got on that candy cane, and it moved a little bit, and I was at first I was nervous she was gonna like maybe fall or it was gonna come apart. And then I was like, oh no, she got that candy cane handled. We're good. We're good. We're good. we trust her. And then the whole repeating thing. I think that's such an amazing thing that not all comedians can do, is repeat the same thing and have it be hilarious every single time. So she definitely like carried that one for me.
Steve, where'd you land? Are you on our page?
Oh yeah, I'm on your page. This was a lot of fun. Very simple. We basically had a parade of silly things for each character to do. But I think you guys covered the real meat of that, and it was Heidi taking the charge, with Billie under her wing doing a great job. And for as high as this sketch was aiming, it's right where it needed to go. We got a simple payoff to a simple sketch that was just about having a rowdy good time.
Going along with that, I did want to say that even though like Billie sometimes needed that push, she was having so much fun, and I love watching people having fun. So like again, even though she's not an actor, she was highly enjoyable to watch in every sketch she was in. Because there have also been hosts where I was like, oh god, like this is painful. So I really enjoyed watching her, even if she needed a little push. Because also, again, she's 20.
Right. All right. So very, very high marks on the church Christmas pageant and Heidi Gardner in general. Let's continue where pity turns to surprise, turns to straight up fear in the next door ad. Erica, is this a win?
I laughed my ass off. I don't know if you have to bleep that out, but it was so funny. I was losing it. I wasn't, because at first I was like, oh, something's gonna be weird. Like Kate's gonna be like, Billie's gonna wish she didn't invite her over,
right?
But I didn't see where it was gonna go, and I thought it was so funny. I mean, the she's keeping me sick. I was just. I love when comedy goes a little dark, and so it was an absolute win for me. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, this was phenomenal. Like, obviously, like holding up signs across the alley is a great place to start for a parody. And then the turn got me. Like you said, we knew something was going to be off about one of these people, and then it was, are there any black people there? And that was already funny because like we all have, I guess we don't all. Many of us have the racist grandma, right? And so like it's like and so you start to think in your head like, okay, I can see a few places where this is going to go. Then it still continued to surprise. Like it really, really fully went to crazy town, and I think that this is just a fabulous example of heightening. It started so grounded and then got so wild. Um, so I sort of was thinking like as the writer, it almost felt like they were challenging themselves. Like you write a beat and you're like, okay, instead of this, where would it be 2 beats from now? And then they took that and replaced it with like the second beat. So like every beat felt like it was moving three, you know? So it was
Mhm.
just like felt really, really, really crazy. And
I love Crazy Town.
yeah,
Love
I
Crazy Town.
love it. I love that they reached those heights. So this was just really, really excellent. And I think um faultless. And Billy performed really well in this. Obviously, like I think pre-tapes can be a little easier than live sketches, but like she had like really good like subtle reactions and big reactions. Just wow, I loved this a lot. Steve, did you like it as much as me?
For sure. Yeah, and to speak on your escalation, what what helps with all of that, it was beautifully escalated, but also it started from such an authentic base.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I think they were so successful in creating, before any humor was injected into it, an actual very heartwarming PSA that
Hmm.
would play just as you would want it to if you were to make one of these in
Right.
all earnestness.
Yeah, it didn't
Uh,
start in Crazy Town. Like it
yeah,
started so normal, and that made it even better that it got
no,
so
yeah,
heightened.
because I actually started tearing up. Like I love the Smiths, and that song
Hmm.
always gets to me anyway. And yeah, just how they told it visually, with her looking at the picture, it it was very effective. So to successfully capture that and then mess with it, that's what was so beautiful about this.
Hmm.
Now, what I loved about this is there was a couple of interesting things. I'm willing to bet that the notes were added in post. They were
Hmm.
not actually written on the like in camera. They were not written on those sheets. Like they were holding up blank stuff,
Hmm.
which allowed them to rewrite, I guess, after it was shot, and maybe not even write it until you got all your reactions. Like, okay, act like she said something weird. Ooh, we'll figure out what the weird thing she was later. I'm sure they didn't do that, but if they thought of something better, they had the freedom to change it.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's very impressive tracking with the notepads and stuff.
Also, I love just like the button on here of making it a next door ad is also hilarious and like a perfect blackout.
Mhm.
In a world where many people complain that SNL doesn't know how to end sketches, I think we actually had a lot tonight that had very solid buttons and blackout lines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
agree.
Yeah.
All right, so again, another one with very high marks from all of us. So let's get into our musical performance, where Billie Eilish performs Happier Than Ever and Male Fantasy. And Erica, did your girl give you everything you hoped for?
Um, yes. I her voice is so beautiful. And I remember when she first came out and she was this like weird 16-year-old with like this is her shtick. Like,
Mhm.
and the people that like didn't really like her, one of the things that I heard people say was how quiet she was. Like she's not like a belter.
Mhm.
Um, but, like, you listen to her sing, and I'm like, "She doesn't need to." Like, this is her voice, and it's
But
beautiful.
also I think she probably can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, I think yeah. But, like, she I'm gonna get on my, like, Billie Eilish soapbox, but, like,
Get it, girl.
she just every song she does is so well crafted. Like, I think she's one of those like, she's truly an artist. She's not creating stuff she doesn't care if you like it. Um, she just is making a song, like, thinking about every part of the song
Mhm.
to make it a piece of art that she believes in, that truly, like, gives you a feeling, that makes you think of an experience. Um,
I think her and
so
Phineas are both like very intentional creators.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I loved it. I
Yeah.
gushed. She's great.
Yeah. Wow. 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 Like the first performance, especially, was just insane. Like I had actually only heard like snippets of the song because, if you listen to the last episode, you know that I've just been in Taylor Swift 10-minute all too well mode for since it came out. I haven't listened to anything else. So I've heard snippets of this on Instagram, but I hadn't listened to the whole song yet. So when it transitioned into the bridge, I was like blown away. I was taken aback in just the best possible way. And I started like rocking out with her. I mean, like, she knows how to command a stage. Her energy is contagious. She's always so creative with stuff like, and this like again speaks to like her intentionality and how she really crafts things. Like how, she had the walls and they opened to the audience and it was this whole thing. And last time she was on, it was like the spinning box for Bad Guy. Um and I loved that season in our, like, postseason wrap up, I said I named Billy, like, the best musical performance of the season. Um, and if it weren't for my previously mentioned undying devotion to Taylor Swift, who's there's no contest, she's already won that category for this season, but I think Billy would have it. This performance was to die for. I loved it. It ended and I started clapping alone in my apartment, which is not a thing I normally do, but it was like that much fun that I was like, yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
So huge, huge win. And the second song was also lovely, but the first one really, really blew me away. Steve, where are you?
I'm gonna say Billy makes some really great music for sure. She's super talented, and I'll respect any musical act that has a clear goal that they're trying to achieve. And I feel uh, the whole Billie Eilish train is very decidedly directed in one direction, and yeah, it really amounts to something that just makes sense. I used to have similar thoughts about Billie Eilish with the volume of her voice. I used to confuse that lack of volume with a lack of power. I used to think she must sound like junk live. Like, how do you sing so quietly and like get amplified over anything? Like, even like the quietest of pianos.
I will
But
say, as a singer, singing quietly like that takes so much more control than
yeah,
belting. Like
that's what I've
it like
come to
speaks to
learn
how good technically she is as
for
well.
sure. Yeah, and that's something I've learned to appreciate about her. And if you needed some kind of tangible proof, like just wait until the second half of that first song when she pretty much goes full emo. And yeah, the volume is there, the power is there, and you're right, Erica. It's the control that allows her to give her signature sound. It's quite impressive.
Awesome. So high marks on Billy. So I feel like we've all we're riding pretty high. Like I think maybe a slow start to the episode, but we're
Yeah.
feeling good at this point. These performances were really great. So let's get into update. For their lead-in, Jost and
Yes.
Shay discuss Jussie Smollett and the Fox News Christmas tree fire. Steve, how was this outing?
Oh, it had some moments. Some of the jokes were a little too predictable for me. You say the date January 7th,
Mhm.
and your punchline is, "Oh, that's the day after January 6th." I'm already thinking that. It's not
Yeah.
an effective joke. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I think I'm past the insurrection jokes at this point in time.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be as low hanging of fruit as that.
Mhm.
Other than that, there was some great bits. Epstein really got it, and I got to thank Che for that one. Is It's just a beautifully simple, blunt joke, and
But the point for that goes to Che, but also Colin sold it.
for the get it, yeah.
Mhm.
But do you get it? But yeah, there was some good jokes among some not so good. Let's call this an average outing of weekend update.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It was some really good stuff and some really weak stuff, a little all over the place. Like the Cuomo brothers quite a pair joke was really good. Like that was a high point for me actually. But then the Epstein joke obviously is great. But then there's like cats are psychopaths and dogs don't have boundaries, and I'm like, I'm sorry, this is a
Yeah.
joke on Weekend Update right now. Like, I'm sorry,
Right.
how?
That's that. See that the setup it was not newsy enough to be a good Weekend Update joke. Like it was just as bizarre as the punchline, and it made me feel like it wasn't based on anything. It wasn't based on anything serious enough to land properly. It was just like, no, you're just saying random stuff.
Right.
So I actually really liked the cat joke.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna say, Steve, what was when you were introducing like you said stale jokes? Is that what the wording you used? I can't remember.
I touched on the predictability of some.
Yes. Okay. So in my mind, it goes along with what I felt in the cold open of like, you can tell like everybody in the world is just sick of like January 6th, of COVID, of the men being horrible. And so to me, like putting in the cat was like, oh, something fun, like something that doesn't make me want to like crawl up and like shrivel into a ball. So that's why
Like,
I enjoyed it.
I'm all for like not political jokes. Like I like it when they
Right.
find like more crazy news stories. But I'm just, I don't know. I feel like cats versus dog jokes.
Right.
Or, yeah. Like
I'm not saying it was great for Weekend Update, but it gave me a chuckle.
Right.
It gave me a chuckle.
If it gave you a chuckle and you liked it, then maybe it was great for Weekend Update.
I also have a cat, so like,
there's something for everybody. Maybe that's actually the thing. When we feel like updates all over the place, it just means it was actually a broader appeal.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe so.
There's that like mother in Minnesota who's watching SNL for the first time, and she's like, "Oh, cats! I like this show now." Like,
yeah. So I mean, this was maybe not any of our favorite outings, but it had some moments. I had a few wins in there, so we'll take it. Let's talk about the features, though. Punky Johnson stops by to talk about going home for the holidays. Erica, it appears as though you enjoyed this.
I loved it. I loved the potatoes. Like, oh gosh, like he's seen some things. Oh, that potato salad's gonna be crazy. Like, it's such a simple game, but so funny. Like, I loved it. I loved it.
Steve, was it a win for you?
Sure. Yes, it's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went full Jimmy Stewart there, but I thought this was great. It's nice to have someone as bubbly and likable as Punky to just come out as themselves and let their personality, be the main attraction. Someday I would love to have that confidence.
Okay, well, I'm glad you guys were having a lot of fun with this because I just thought it was okay. I think the potato salad okay, here's the thing. I think it's all like super solid material, and I can see it killing in a comedy club. But I think the studio audience was giving her basically nothing, and it made it really hard for me at home to have as much fun with it as I think I should have. Because I have no critique of the material. I think it's really solid stuff, and I think on its own I do like each part of it, but it's just like even though she was giving off tons of fun energy, like the crowd was just like probably some of their most tepid of the night, I felt like. So it made it not quite land like I feel like it should have, considering like the material speaks to me. Like I thought it was good. So yeah, I don't know. I was feeling kind of mixed feelings on it, really.
Well, if you were to ask yourself, is this the type of stuff that is going to speak to Billie Eilish fans? Which I assume, there was a lot of those in the audience. That might shed some light.
Yeah.
See, I was like cackling so hard. I had no idea how the audience was reacting. And that usually does play in for me where like, I was like, why is the audience not? It's something like, but I was laughing so hard. I literally didn't even
right.
hear what was happening with them. because I
They
just
did their
thought it was
job
so
for them.
funny.
I like Punky a lot. Like she is very charismatic, and I think is a good performer. So, maybe I just need to watch it a few more times and get over like figuring out why the audience wasn't giving her the energy that I think the material really deserved. But let's talk about our next feature. It's time for Andy's Amazing Animals. Steve, did you enjoy this one?
I did. Let's just appreciate a minor thing where he chose to use his own name, not be like Craig, the animal guy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like a recurring thing where Andrew Dismukes keeps popping up as like a page or a COVID worker guy, as if he's not really a cast member, but he's just there to do odd jobs for for the show. Uh, instead of making a new character, he's just playing himself as I guess the animal expert of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And how great was it? There's so many ways you could do this. Like, do you absolutely fall apart crying at the news that you're going to uh die in 7 days, or do you like kind of try to joke it off and let a little bit of tensions drip through? There's so many things you can land on between those 2 points, and I just thought it was great. The silliness of it all, telling this story through the lens of wacky animals that can do crazy things. uh there's all the moving parts of this lend themselves to each other and worked really well.
Yeah, this was great. It didn't even really click or occur to me that he didn't have to be himself in this. There's really no reason for it. That does make it like kind of more fun in a way. I think this is just such a fun premise because as soon as they pull the octopus out, like this prediction's gonna go wrong, but you don't know how, and you certainly don't expect it to be this dark, right? I think that's just brilliant, and then to not let it just be the octopus the whole time, to be like, all right, well, that's over. We have to heighten past the octopus now and bring out a sad dog. That's amazing. It's just so funny. Andrew did such a good job. And this is that really fun, weird stuff that I'm into tonight. Like, I think that this followed the path of kind of the pre-update sketches that we were getting. So I really, really liked it. Erica, how about you?
So, kind of going along with what you guys said, him being himself, I actually think is really smart because he is so new. He's really he's really trying to be like this is me stamp, like
right.
I just imagine
Don't
like
forget
a big
my name
stamp that says Dismukes. Yeah, exactly right. And like we're getting a taste of who he is, what he can do. We're remembering his name. I think it's very smart. And I wrote down notes for myself, as I mentioned earlier. And for this one, I literally have puppy, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. That dog turning around was so funny. And just like the
turning around permanently,
the backwards, like
the backwards paws.
I was dying. And you could tell he kept trying to maybe like get him to turn back around. And at one point he's like, that's what it is. That's what it is today.
The dog wasn't having him.
But it was so cute because I was like, the dog's a little shy.
Also, I know they won't because the show's new every week. They never assume you've seen the last one, but I want them to do like a rest in peace Andrew Dismukes joke next week.
Oh my god, yes.
Just not have him in next show.
Right.
It would have to be like if it was like in the middle of the episode somehow. That would be really funny. Like
Weekend Update comes to a halt and like we're so sad to announce that Andrew Dismukes has just passed away. Okay, so update. Maybe more tepid on the desk jokes, but solid reviews on the features. Let's get into the back half of the show. These women aren't on good terms with Santa. Erica, what were your thoughts on this?
So I mean, obviously they got to get a sketch for Billy singing. I don't think it was the strongest sketch. Like the premise, just like three women being weird. But you could just tell, again, getting on my Billy soapbox, when she steps in front of the mic, she just completely transforms into a different
Mhm.
person. And I could almost kind of see the change, like, as the sketch was happening. Where, like, she was in this mode where, like, she's not an actress, like, maybe needs a little push, and then she, like, turns to sing, and it's just like, boom, like, she's
Mhm.
on. Um, and then I love Keenan as Santa. Love it. Like, it was solid. It was solid for me, not the funniest game, not the funniest premise, but, like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Steve, where'd you land?
Uh, I liked it. It was good representation for me because, there's all these songs about interacting with Santa, giving him a smooch or, I don't know, hitting his car on the highway or whatever. There's so many songs about just meeting Santa. But if I were to ever meet Santa, it would probably go as well as when I meet anybody. And that's how they describe it here. So it's nice to have a song that I can relate to because I would definitely make it weird with Santa. It's just who I am, The anxiety takes over, and I just say things that I never thought I would say ever. So just for that, uh, hey, I can relate moment. This was welcome. It was nice and short. I'm calling this the awkward block because they had this paired with the Kyle
Mhm.
pre-tape. So this is very much a theme of awkwardness in this portion of the show.
I thought this was fine. I was having fun with it. I was enjoying it at the beginning, but by maybe like the third beat, I was starting to feel like the song was holding them back. I think it could have heightened more and started piling on like quicker and in more interesting ways, but they were just like chained to that rhythm. So I don't know. I feel like maybe if they ditched the song at some point, it could have, you know, gotten to better heights. But the second half of it didn't quite click for me. So, like, I was having fun with it, but it just didn't have the energy that I needed after, an octopus predicting that Andrew Dismukes was gonna die in 7 days. Like,
Mhm.
it didn't reach that level, so it sort of it did feel like the energy started to drain a little bit during this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, you're not wrong.
yeah. Not my highest point of the night, but, not unwatchable, not terrible. So let's get on in there to poor Kyle has no one to spend the holidays with. So just like, hit him up if your plans change, all right? And Steve, I have a suspicion that you probably really loved this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. This was great. I always pick a background to speak over, and I considered one of the torture scenes with Mikey, because that was some hilarious dark humor. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to talk about how much I enjoyed just the premise of Kyle trying to make plans for the holiday, and just squirming alongside of him as he just doesn't really succeed to connect with his cast members. It's something he does all too well. uh, it must be a curse to be able to dissect and present awkward moments so authentically. uh, it sounds like quite the hell to exist in, but it pays off with great comedy, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I love about when it takes that dark turn with Mikey Day. Uh, just the audacity of a sketch that has no rails to try to derail itself, regardless. That's how I felt. It's like, this wasn't even anything, and now you're like taking it in a whole other direction as if it was normal to begin with.
Right.
That was that was a very interesting point to me. Uh, as much as I love that dark turn, and just the idea that they had to shoot all these things, like in the reality of it, uh, of this behind the scenes, like Mikey doesn't know that Kyle hates him, yet all this footage was shot of Kyle like tying him up, and and torturing him. Like they had to get those shots. So
I had that thought too.
yeah, but that's what I love about it, and that's why I love the fever dream that is all these Kyle shorts. Like it's an amorphous blob that just pulsates and grows and expands and contracts just in reaction of what is going on with the show. Like, once Leslie leaves, the whole Kyle and Leslie marriage just dissipates without so much as an explanation. And we don't need one because this is like, just beautiful, surreal carnival funhouse. Uh, just, anything goes, no rules kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just a very entertaining world to visit.
I think you guys pretty much said it all. This was a very solid outing of like the SNL cinematic universe. I love the narrative that Kyle is jealous of Mikey. I think that's really good.
Yep.
And another one with a great button at the end, photoshopping Kyle onto all Mikey's characters' faces. I think that's a very solid way to end it. So yeah, I'm not gonna retread the points you all made, but this was good. I liked it. Let's talk about the 10-to-1. Come, stay with us at the Business Garden Inn and Suites and Hotel Room Inn. I love these sketches. Like they are the one that I remember most that like sticks out and I quote very, very often is one that it's Kate and Adie and they own like a Staten Island wedding venue. And there's
Right.
just one line where they said like pink soap that hurt your hands. And I just say that every time I encounter that soap. But this I love that this format can be so evergreen because it's a sketch that can recur but will always feel fresh because it's always a new business with new specifics, right?
Right.
And it doesn't get tired. And this one, it nailed all those little details of this like crappy hotel that we've all stayed in once. Obviously Billy was having a great time with this. So big win, and it was a really, really solid end to the night for me. Erica, did it put you out on a high note?
Yes, again, watching Billy have so much fun was hilarious, and I loved watching her break. And this was also extremely relatable for me because I used to tour with the Children's Theater, and I have stayed in all of those hotels like multiple times. So it hit home for me, and I liked it a lot. And then Phineas, the Phineas camo was top notch.
Mhm.
Loved it.
Yeah, Billy may not be an actor, but I think Phineas might be.
They make a great pair. I mean, like they lucked the hell out as siblings, like for sure.
Yeah, I'm jealous that they're like so close.
Yeah.
I'm not that close with my brother, and I like wish like that seems so lovely.
I try to be close with my sister, but she's one of those people that's like, okay, we're allowed one hug this time. Like
What?
Because she's not a touchy-feely person, and I'm like, hug me.
So Steve, where'd you land on the sketch? And also,
I can't remember.
are you close with your siblings?
Oh.
Do you have any trauma you'd like to resolve real quick?
Oh God. No, because the elapsed time will probably begin with a 3 by the time I finish the hotel sketch. I liked it. It was every bit as good as like, Vin Diesel's movie theater sketch. It still had just as good relatable parts that we all know from these hotel experiences. And Erica made a good point where a lot of the humor came from just Billy's enjoyment of it all.
Mhm.
It was as if she was performer / audience member all at one time because
Yeah.
She was pretty much reacting to this as if she were watching this at home. She clearly found this sketch funny herself, and it was funny to watch Kate just like kind of nurse those moments and and kind of make them worse than they had to be. It's something she kind of likes to do. So yeah, she kept poking, she kept prodding, and
literally poking.
literally poking. Billy's like, please stop at one point, which was adorable.
Yeah, that was
But
a
yeah,
fun dynamic.
Yeah, loved it.
you can't blame Billy for having such a good time because it really was hilarious and everything there was so relatable. It's all about the relatability.
Mm,
And
mhm,
guys at SNL who write this stuff, they're geniuses. You know,
definitely.
they know what is common enough, but also weird enough that we'll all
Right.
recognize, but also laugh at.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful balance.
Yeah, it's a beautiful eye to have for the world.
Mhm. Okay, well, that's the end of the rundown. Let's get into our overall thoughts and ratings. Up first is Moment of the Night. Erica, what's your moment?
Oh, geez. It's gotta be the window, like the she is Margaret.
Ah.
It just was the cherry on top of the dark comedy cake. Like
Mhm.
it was, I lost it. It was great.
Yeah, that was a very final turn. A
Yes.
very excellent final turn. Um, my moment, it's got to be either Pimp Walk or just Heidi up on the candy cane. And you know what? I'll give it to the candy cane because will say I messaged her last night on Instagram just to be like, this was fabulous, and she was like, I won't be able to move tomorrow. So like that extra level of commitment is
I love that.
fantastic. Like, yeah, that it doesn't look easy to do, but I appreciate how much she committed to selling it. So candy cane stripper pole. Well, and she did say pimp walk on the stripper pole a few times, so I guess I can combine them.
There
Steve,
you
what's your
go.
moment?
Uh, great line from Kyle in his pre-tape. Right after Billy uh, compliments him on his singing voice, he goes, "Yeah, the show never knew how to use me."
Yeah.
They don't know how to use me on this show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never knew.
That's
They never
funny.
knew how to use me on the show. But I don't necessarily think that's true. I think they know exactly how to use them. How
Mhm.
often they want to use them is another question. Uh, but I love the joke either way because it was piercing and it was insider baseball, which I love, but it was also kind of self-deprecating and just acknowledging
Mhm.
a uh, a truth that's
Well, and
okay,
it's
but
just like the thing that everybody that like really loves Kyle like says that like they don't know how to use him. Like, so I
yeah.
think it's just so funny to address that.
Yeah.
So that's my moment.
Very good. Let's talk about best sketch. Erica, what is it?
I gotta the signs. I was losing it. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely the signs in the window.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they
top
called that one
notch.
Lonely Christmas.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay.
Lonely
Lonely Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't know, if we're going with like my favorite, it's gonna be like the Christmas nativity one. But but truly, the actual like best sketch is Lonely Christmas, far and away. Like it is just expertly written, perfectly executed. It is wonderful start to finish. So that is the best sketch of the night for sure. And so Steve, I haven't given you a choice. What's your best sketch?
Yeah,
Don't mess
well,
this up.
don't worry, because I was gonna pick it as well.
Good.
Correct.
It was the best sketch for sure, uh, for all the reasons that we've gone over. It was hilarious. It captured the actual serious tone that it was harping on, so that it was successful in its execution of the setup as well as uh, the takeoff and escalation and all that. It was expertly done, and yeah, the performances were great, and I think the peaks and valleys of it all were really well sculpted, and yeah, there was just enough forgiveness after every little questionable beat. Billy would give a happy face, or it would have a moment of calm before it escalated again. Uh, just, just brilliantly put together,
Yep.
and yeah, just some good technical choices, like to actually do the notes in post, which gives you a lot of freedom. That was very smart to do, and probably why it was uh so effective, because if anything didn't work, they had the ability to change it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a really nice sketch, and no surprise to me that gets unanimous best sketch. Not at all.
Unanimous. All right. Well, let's talk about the MVP. Who are you going to give it to, Erica?
You know what? Honestly, I'm gonna give it to Billie.
Whoa.
For she just had so much fun. Like she was just 100% game to be there. She was just authentic in herself throughout. And I mean, I love the cast members and they're hilarious. But I think like I genuinely was like, I can't wait to see Billie like in the next sketch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to my girl.
That's fair. That's fair. I attempted to give it to Taylor Swift, even though she was the musical. All right. My MVP, I think there's definitely an argument to be made for Kate. Like she's back. She's great. She was all over the place. She was wonderful and in everything. But I'm sorry, I have to give it to Heidi. She carried that sketch and sold it and made me love it, and it was just so good, and it was just so much her, just selling it and knowing how to milk those lines. And she popped up in a couple other things, but that would sometimes the MVP is everywhere, and sometimes they just make the one big play. And I think it's Heidi Gardner this week. Steve, who are you gonna give it to?
Well, I was hoping someone would give it to Kate just to satisfy the Kate box that is begging to be ticked. It's the first time we see her this season. She's all over this episode. So naturally, you're going to want to maybe give it to her. I kind of want to give it to her, the MVP slot. She was all over it, and she seems rejuvenated, refreshed, batteries charged. It was a great outing for her. But I still want to give it to Andrew Dismukes, despite all that. And it's a strong feeling that I'm just not going to fight. So here I go. Andrew, you win. Here you go.
Let's get into the big one. On a scale of classic, great, decent, weak, or train wreck, Erica, how do you rate this episode?
I'm going to give it a great.
Fair enough. I was tempted to give it a classic. So much stuff was working, and I felt like the writers really came back refreshed. I feel like everybody was doing a good job. There were so many sketches that were huge wins. But I think ultimately, like, the cold open and just that, like, not totally solid update kind of makes it's great. It's a high great, and it's a strong great, but there's just, like, those couple things holding it back from being a classic for me. But this was a really, really good outing. You could tell they had some weeks off. You could tell, everybody's ready. We got one more episode, and then they got Christmas coming. And I think we're probably in for another treat next week. So
it's Christmas.
Yeah, this is a great for me. Steve, where are you landing?
Yeah, great is sounding pretty appetizing to me after watching this. Oh,
unanimous.
Yeah. It was a juicy, flavorful episode. It's deserving of a great. Even if like we didn't get the sketches we got, like they had so much stuff on the shelf ready to go, like another Angelo sketch and another Please Don't Destroy short. They were rife with content, and it's all really well put together. Billie was a great host, as well as a musical guest. There was just no aspect of the show that really sucked.
Yeah.
It's not like we had to like watch a really good episode and then, had to deal with some
right, like usually there's
some
at
lowest
least
common denominator musical guest or something. There was no
or like there's one sketch where you're just like, it wasn't for me. Like everything was pretty much working.
Yeah, I feel like I did not pay a heavy price of admission for an enjoyable show. There was nothing that I had to live with I'm happy with everything on the show. So yeah, maybe not classic, but great is a pretty easy
Is
decision
great.
to make. A great is great to give.
Fair enough. All right. A unanimous great. Billie came to play. She was a very solid first time host. I think she'll be back.
Yeah.
Happy to see Kate back. Happy to see all of our little friends at the show. You know, they feel like our
Our little
family when you
friends.
watch it as
widow
religiously as we do.
friends.
But yeah, so I'm glad we had a good time with it. Erica, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Erica.
Do you have any shows coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Well, it'll be over by the time this airs, but I have a show literally in an hour and a half
Nice.
that I'm running to right after this.
Nice.
Other than that, I am available. I desperately need my first co-star. I'm great, so cast me.
I'll put a stamp of approval on that. She is genuinely great. So put her
and
in all your
Done.
things.
I know, like,
You're
you know,
casted.
it happens. It fluxes, but like I work so hard, and I want you all to know that. All of you listening and watching, I will make you money.
I'm going to cast you right now.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
I got to figure out what it is I'm going to make after, but you're casted.
You can also
Great.
see Erica in our team's Boogie Manja show this Friday
Yes. Mhm.
at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/Boogie Manja. I didn't write anything new this time. I have a best of sketch that Erica is in. You're the voice of Alexa,
Yeah,
right?
I am the
Yeah,
voice
yeah.
of Alexa.
So it's Alexa mom mode, and
Now
Erica does a great
arriving
Alexa impression.
at Applebee's.
Pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, so there's that. And then for me, the other team, the team that I'm directing, has a show this Wednesday at 8 p.m. You can catch that on the Lit Comedy YouTube channel. Steve, what are you up to?
Working away. I've just had a lovely week with Crosstalk on CBC. We did a lot of content on food insecurity, talking about how rising food prices and all that is, affecting the bottom line for many families. And we're just putting out the good word to see what we can do to combat that. So it's been a lovely week at the CBC for that. It's called Feed First NL. And yeah, if wherever you are, if you want to donate to your local food bank or what have you, goes a long way to making sure that people in need can have a lovely Christmas, just like anyone else.
Very good. What a great way to end the
Yes.
show. And that is a wrap. Thanks to Steve Finn and Erica Dieterich. And thanks as well to our most generous patrons, Sam Bowers, Neil Weinstein, Justin Gardner, Grace Kogan, and Brian Clark. If you're enjoying our show, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever better podcasts can be found. Your subscription helps us grow. Your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back in 1 week when SNL returns with host Paul Rudd and musical guest Charlie XCX. But until then, this has been episode number 149 of the Saturday Night Live Afterparty podcast. I'm Catherine Coleman. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.